Jeff, appreciate you having me on. Very excited about this. My name is Matt Kelleher. I'm currently the offensive line coach at Millersville University out in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It's the eastern part of the state. Just a little bit about myself. This will be my 14th season. What would have been my 14th season coaching will be my 15th season. I've had opportunities to coach the offensive line at different colleges and university. Brevard College down in North Carolina, Maryville College in Tennessee over there near Knoxville, Capital University in Columbus, Ohio, Ohio Dominican University, and then I was at Malone University in Canton, and then currently, like I said, at Millersville University. So I've been very fortunate to had an opportunity to work with a lot of really good people, really good football coaches to learn from. I played my college and got my degree at Elon University. Had 3 head coaches during that time. Al Seagraves brought me in. Great person, loved him to death. Paul Hamilton was our second coach. And then our third coach was Pete Lembo, who did a really good job with Elon as well. So very fortunate to be around a lot of different position coaches. I had eight different position coaches during my time in college as well. So I had a lot of influences from them, which was outstanding. So, when you asked about doing this today, I thought, I would like to talk a little bit about stretch or mid zone, and just some basic fundamentals and techniques that we do with the stretch play, and kind of go from there. So let me see here. So to start, why run the stretch play? I think the stretch play and just the basic stretch play is a great scheme to complement your zone and power. I think a lot of people are doing, like we do tight zone, and we do a lot of gap scheme type schemes as well. But I think running the stretch play and all the different forms of it, all the different types of stretch, I think it's a really good mixer to mix in with your repertoire in terms of run game stuff. Also gives, in my opinion, it gives a smaller offensive line a chance to get a little bit more movement, especially if they can move a little bit quicker than usual. So I think, stretch with, whether it's high school football, small college, big college, wherever you go, even NFL stuff, it gives you a chance to get some of your smaller O linemen a chance to not have to base block, the whole game, and give something for them to be successful and get a little bit of movement there. And I also think it keeps the defenses on their heels. We're always trying to, figure out, are they attacking style defense, meaning, the linebackers, are they fast fillers and gaps, or are they more of a reading type defense? I think, the stretch play can help you attack both the attacking and the reading style of defenses, and kind of keeps them in their heels, and also keeps them honest in their gaps. Because, it kind of creates a running lane for your running back from the backside C gap to the front side C gap with the way you can run stretch and mid zone. And, if you get those defenses with the linebackers that, are flying over the top, your back can read that and jump cut it up inside. And so it's a no lose mentality, I think, as long as you don't allow penetration. I think, you can really use this scheme a lot. It also sets up the ability in the throw game, with boots and nakeds and play action pass. I think it's a really good fit for that as well. Most schemes are, but just from the stretch point of view, I really love the naked and boots off it, and if you can really get the defense to really bite on your play action pass with it, it can open up some things down the field as well. And when you're playing against teams that have great interior blitzes, or good movement inside with their D linemen trying to prevent zone and your gap schemes and things like that. I think stretch is a good mixer and a good answer to some of the people that try to blitz you inside, even outside as well, but mostly inside. Zone, you get a lot of those teams that really move and blitz well inside and kind of put your guys in a little bit of a bind at times with your double teams and combos. But you can mix this a little bit in there. Maybe they won't blitz you as much inside, which is always a huge plus too. So basic fundamentals, when I coach basically any R scheme, there's 3 different phases that I look at. I look at the movement phase first. We coach that up, and we coach the contact part, and then we coach the finish. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go here today. But from a basic fundamentals, we talk first of all with the covered offensive line. So if you're in the front side or even backside with stretch and you're covered, that first step which we talk about is a 45-degree angle bucket step. And that's a lead step. And this is one of the few times that I coach losing ground is actually okay. Because, if you lose a little bit of ground that first step, you're gaining leverage on that covered defensive end or free technique or shade, depending on what lineman you're talking about. So we lose a little bit of ground with that bucket step. The second step, we are ripping to run. A big thing that I coach a lot is the aiming point. I'm a huge aiming point guy in terms of what your linemen are aiming towards on their contact. We want our aiming point on stretch would be the play side number. So if we're running stretch to the right and you have a right guard, it'd be if it's three technique, it'd be the three techniques right number. We also want to talk about staying square to the line of scrimmage. We'll talk about a little bit of the distortion of vertical and horizontal distortion, but we want to be able to stay as square as we can and try, because we are working combos as well with stretch, and don't want to turn our pads, to the sideline, stay square and be physical at the point of attack. Give your guys a step and a contact landmark. And that's where it comes back to that 45-degree angle step. We work a lot of that with our board work and things like that, individual. And then obviously the contact landmark spot. Because if your landmark moves, then okay, you have inside help and things like that. You can coach off of that as well. Stretch combos are very similar to me to zone, but with a little bit different landmarks. As coaches, we're always trying to find the ways to make things more similar and simple. I try to keep our stretch combos and our calls very similar to our zone, so our guys aren't having to learn another type of name or technique. Now, obviously, the landmarks are a little bit different. We have to coach the landmarks and where we go and how we attack the linebackers a little bit different, but we try to coach it as similar as we can. Another thing that we talk about is do not chase, especially linebackers outside the box. Our backs read that. So if the linebackers are running, there's a lot of times where our guys will jump cut inside. And you'll see on film here, there's a guy that chased that. If he didn't chase and just climbed up to the next level, we would have had a much better play. And another thing that I harp a lot on stretch is getting vertical movement. It's not a horizontal play for us. We want to get to the edge and get that hooked and get our back out there, but we want to work on like crazy getting vertical movement. And vertical movement is something that we work on with all of our zone and gap scheme, and very, very, very critical part of our stretch game as well, is getting vertical movement as well. So those are some of the fundamentals for our covered linemen. You look at our uncovered offensive linemen. I consider that a stretch scoop. Scoop on the backside, with zone and things of that nature. This is more of a stretch scoop with our guys. And again, if you're uncovered, you're still doing very similar techniques. So we teach the 45-degree bucket step, lead step. Again, losing ground to gain leverage. And what they're trying to do in that second step is they're checking the hip of the adjacent lineman. And if that hip of the defender's there, then you're going to help work through that hip and climb. Or if the hip disappears, you're going to climb up to the next level. There's obviously different schematic ways of doing that and different things. But from day one teaching, I think it's important that you give your guys that landmark of that hip. Because where the hip goes, the defender goes. We're not checking shoulders or heads or anything like that. It's important that you check the hip to climb. And if you find that hip, go ahead and attack it, and we can work that combo together. Always be aware of post-snap movement. So even though you are uncovered pre-snap, just like we all know, there's a lot of always post-snap movement that you can actually turn into the covered lineman. So that's why I like to keep everything as simple and as easy as possible in terms of the same technique. And so have a plan in your mind. So that comes with film study, that comes with just being an experienced veteran or just an experienced player, understanding movement, being able to put pre-snap to see where the linebacker alignment's at, and getting tipped off on what's coming and what might come, and having a plan in place where you're not surprised. Hopefully your instincts will return into play, and you can manage that block. Um, like I said, the goal for the uncovered lineman, in my opinion, on stretch and the front side, is to either nudge or take over or climb up to the linebacker. And so, you're working those double team combos as much as you can. And then obviously, if it's not there for you to take over, then you either nudge it or you climb up to the linebacker. And another thing, again, what we coach again a lot is do not chase people outside the box. From a backside alignment standpoint, I like to use a lot of what we call same as rules as uncovered and covered. This is where a critical piece of the blocking scheme is, we should never be lazy, period. Effort is non-negotiable in our program, but especially in the backside. You cannot be lazy. Well, the play's going away from me. If I just get in the way and don't fall down, I'll be able to maintain my block. But, your block in the backside can actually spring, some of those 8-yard gains into 80-yard gains. Big time plays. And you see that all the time in football with the guys in the backside with their effort on their blocks. So, don't be lazy. Understand that you could spring it for a big play. Take care of your play side gap. That's the biggest thing. You may have, a B scoop block combo in the backside, but if you're the backside guard, but if a linebacker or somebody shoots that A gap, you got to be there to take it, and you got to take care of that backside gap. So it's very important that we understand that from the backside point of view. Cut blocking and staying up. I coach both of those. I think there's a definitely advantage to cut blocking on the backside, and there's also advantages to staying up. And if you want to prevent yourself from possibly getting a penalty, don't cut. But if there's an opportunity to get those guys on the ground from a mentality standpoint and physicality standpoint, man, I think it's really big that you can get them on the ground with a cut block, the legal way, getting your head across. And, but also staying up is also another important factor we coach as well on the backside. And then our aiming point for those guys, whether it's a combo or even if they're covered technically in the backside, is the play side number, again, of the defender. So a lot of very same as consistent rules for the front side and backside. And, our goal is for all 5 of those guys, and, some cases 6 or 7 with the tight ends, to line up, make their call, see what the defense is showing and fly off the football fast and let your instincts come over and take over and play fast. So looking at, some of our line and combo calls, you could tell the tailback's going to the right, so this would be stretch or mid zone to the right here. Our combo between our center and right guard, we would call a slip call. And there's different variations of the slip that we do. But just from a day one teaching standpoint, a slip call. There's also another call the center can make. He makes an island call, which basically tells the guard, hey, I'm on my own, so you don't have to worry about slipping it. They can focus on just doing a double combo between the guard and tackle. If your center is fast and quick on this play, and let's say you have, like a tight nose right here, or a tight shade, if your center can get that guy reached, there's no need for us to have any type of combo block between the guard and the center there. So that based on your comfortability with your center and how comfortable he is manning that guy and being able to take him himself. Or double combo will be between the guard and tackle on the front side. A lot of times we do that with an under front, or our tackle and our guard here are working a combo, through that 5 technique or 4-eye, as they climb up to the front side linebacker. I'm trying to do these drawings on a trackboard here. I don't have a mouse, so my drawings are going to look terrible. I apologize. But working that double combo here. And then our triple combo will be between the front side tackle and an inline tight end that's on the line of scrimmage here. Obviously if we have an over front type of front, so we have a 3 technique here, or like a 6 or 7 or 9 technique, then you might be able to get your triple call here as we work up. And this would be our slip call between these 2 guys working together. Again, not chasing linebackers, anything like that, and really stressing the vertical movement aspect on this play. really stressing that vertical movement blocking on our combos and aiming points and techniques, things like that. On the backside, the easiest way to remember it is, backside A gap is an A combo, backside B combo, that B gap is a B, and then, obviously a backside C gap combo will be a C gap and C. And, especially if you're playing with a lot of young guys, or, guys that struggle to learn a little bit of schemes, having an A, B, C system, slip or single, double, triple, on the front side really helps them remember, what calls to make. And it's not hard for them to remember. So those are the combo calls that we make. We have a couple more combo calls of different schemes and things of that nature that we do as well. But from a day one teaching standpoint, those are some of the things that we look at there. Line of scrimmage distortion, big thing that I harp on a lot with our guys. And we talk a lot about, our vertical distortion of the line of scrimmage. Most of our run plays, whether it's our zone or our gap scheme, our stretch, outside zone pin and pull, we're looking for vertical distortion, meaning, blocking and moving, our defenders vertically back. I talk a lot about, hey, when we start a play or start a drive, we don't want to start 1st and 10. If you're able to knock these guys back, 1 or 2 yards, now we're looking at our offense only having to make it 8 or 9 yards. So we're 1st and 8 or 9. Just based on the physical play that we have and distorting that line of scrimmage back, whether it's the front side or back side of the combo. So talking a lot about vertical distortion. We also, particularly with stretch, we do introduce and talk a lot about lateral distortion or horizontal distortion, whatever you want to call it. But if you do get a lot of movement up front, where you don't not really getting quality combos on these blocks, we teach a lot of torquing, like especially at tackle here, the right tackle, being able to attack, aiming point, and that end, that end's got the C gap, so he's fighting like crazy to win that C gap. We'll let him win that C gap and go ahead and torque him and distort him laterally. All right, so our back can make that cut right underneath. And so these are some of the things that we discuss a lot up front, especially, obviously, on the front side. And the back side, we do have some lateral distortion concepts, but we still would like to keep that vertical to the back side. But again, if we're getting a lot of movement in there as well, I think it's important to teach that technique and getting movement laterally so our back can make us cut and be successful there. So, with most of our run plays, in terms of our O-line, I always love to talk about a running back, where their aiming point is, what their reads are, trying to get these guys to think spatial awareness of the play, what they're supposed to be looking at, what the play is designed to do. And I think if those guys can understand the total play, not just what they're supposed to do, and makes them a better football player and helps them understand why linebackers fit the way they fit. Why D linemen fit the way they fit, move the way they move, and et cetera. So when we talk about our stretch play, we have 3 different avenues that our back can take. You can either bounce it, we can either blast it inside, or bend it all the way back. And I have a drawing up next, but the running back will read that play state, play side. And then a line of scrimmage, MLOs, and which path to take. And that's something that has to be worked a lot in practice. And those guys have to feel comfortable about making their reads. And so basically, when they read a bounce, it's the offensive tackle has won the edge, or the tight end as well. The tackle won the edge, and they're working what we call sealing the box. So basically sealing the linebacker inside the box where he can bounce all the way outside. That is the most ideal situation that we want when we're running stretch, but like we all know, it doesn't always happen like that. And I think teaching that front side tackle that, hey, even if you don't win that block, win that edge, you don't lose. It's not like you lost. The only way you lose on that block is if you give up penetration. That's the huge key on stretch for me in pretty much all run plays is not giving up penetration. So that what happens with the blast play where our backs have to stick their foot in the ground. That's when the MLOS contains the edge, but we're able to reach the interior guy the second read for the back, which would be the nose guard or the D tackle. So our front side tackle is not able to reach that 5 technique there. So he torques them and runs them to the sideline. But we do get that 3 technique reached by our guard and center. They were able to blast that thing in the B gap or even sometimes a C gap there to get our back vertical up the field and getting productive yardage. And then in some cases, bend, both reads don't get reached at all. Therefore, the back must see that and get vertical right now. And, a lot of teams that defend stretch do a good job of maintaining those gaps. Again, we don't want to give up penetration. Just laterally distort them, run their butt to the sideline, and our back hopefully will see that and be able to cut up inside and bend. And that bend could actually go right behind, and we'll show you the design here. Here's some of the aiming point drawings here, but that jump ahead, but that bend, normally will go right behind that center's block. And sometimes it'll go right behind the guard's block. And, we do a lot of stuff with our H and stuff like that at a 12 personnel where he's coming across the formation, just like our split zone stuff and kicking out the backside end where our running back is now bending that thing right behind the kick out block. And that's something that, we've seen that has been very successful, especially teams that defending stretch. But here's a drawing. The green drawing is when our back, is able to get a bounce read on it outside. The blast read, for our back here, working up through the B to C gap, and then bend. So those guys are always reading that. Schematically going into a game, we may feel like bend or blast might be our best bet, or some games our bounce might be our best bet. And so they know that pre-game and pre-snap, that's what we're looking at. And these 5 or 6 guys up front, see and read and know what our back's looking at and understand that, hey, if I don't get them reached, it's okay. I'm able to, distort these guys laterally, and our back has options inside as well. So a couple examples for drill work, and these are everyday drill work stuff. I have some video of it too. With COVID fall practices, I didn't have a lot of chance for combo type work, but we did a lot of individual type stuff, which was great for our guys. But stretch combos with movement, and obviously stretch combo blocks or combo blocks in general with every scheme that you run from a run game standpoint is important. But these are things that I do, with our guys each week, working on our stretch play, trying to maximize that play. But with that stretch combo with movement, obviously getting that D lineman to move inside and outside, and having our 2 O linemen read that and read the backers movement as well is key. And just getting that, repetitions and muscle memory and feeling comfortable and instincts come into play, and be able to play fast doing that. Do a leverage reach drill, which I love this drill. And you get 2 linemen, and both these guys are fighting to reach each other. And so what I'll do is here, I don't have it in the picture here, but I'll have 2 cones, that are roughly, 3 to 4 yards outside of them there. And so this lineman here is trying to reach, block, and block that other lineman to this cone, and vice versa. This lineman's trying to reach, block, and get vertical movement on this cone. So you're able to get really good work from a leveraged reach drill standpoint without having a look guy and a live guy. And so we work this a lot. And this is from a fit position most of the time. Sometimes we'll do this from a 3-point. But this is part of the finish type of the block for me, learning how to finish. And it's really important that you can get these guys that really do that, do a good job in the reach drill. And then, when you get to the second level, there's a few different linebacker, what I call hat up drills. But just being able to work down a board here, you're coming off the combo. You keep the board here and I'll show you a video clip of it here in a second, but you're staying square so you can get vertical up the field. And then you give them an aiming point, like the inside number there, where your lineman can attack that linebacker and learn and feel comfortable about blocking a second level defender. And so these are some of the drill work examples from a drawing standpoint that we do. Looking at film here, working on this basically without, and this is the movement part of our blocking, but we're just reach blocking a covered lineman to the right with no defender. But what we're looking for here, from a 2-point here, is we're looking for that right foot in this case here to take that 45-degree bucket step. So we'll pause it. And this is kind of what we're looking for here. You can tell that, Jallo here stepped here, and he's lost a little bit of ground here, but to gain leverage. But you can see his outside, his toe and his knee are pointing at a 45-degree angle, which gives him the opportunity to get that leverage on the block so you can attack the outside number. And then the second part of that block will be driving that second leg vertically. And I use this line here as a key to show and to see whether or not he gained ground. Now, you can tell he gained a little bit of ground there, which not as much as you would like and hope for, but he's able to get past that white line, which is where we started, which means he's gaining ground, and then working up through that board there, just working on focus on staying square and running through the block. You can do the same thing from a knee position. I do a lot of knee starts with technique. This is a zone play. This is more of a zone blocking. But obviously all you need to do is move the board out a little bit and have it angled. And we also do our pass protections and things like that from a knee. But I love the knee part of it because it's teaching you to push off that inside or outside foot that you need to do to gain ground on that first step. So in this case right here, our lineman took his first step. Now he's driving off that second step here, all right, trying to work that foot to get vertical movement here. As a reminder, again, this is just a zone play. This is just tight zone, not stretch. But you can see he's driving off that foot there, gaining ground. And then, obviously, what we teach a lot is, a good tall head up, elbows tight to the body, thumbs up. And then another thing that I teach, and he doesn't have it right now, but we'll have a tennis ball that we'll have in our hands there. And he just rolls that tennis ball. That's helping teaching him to keep his hands tight to his body, thumbs up, elbows tight. I'd like to see him be a little bit lower here, coming out. But he does a good job of running through that board. Watch it again here, full speed, good technique. I got this from a couple different coaches, but finishing a drill, sprinting, off the board for 5 yards. That helps promote, some of these teams that run, a no huddle, up tempo. It helps you run, towards the football, but it also gives that lineman that thought of, hey, I got to be able to run off the football and sprint. Here's a zone aspect here, and here's a stretch. I'd like for this lineman to be a little bit wider here to start, but you can see, from a non-contact thing, when we couldn't block each other, we could block dummies though. We were able to put these guys here where they're learning how to take their steps, punching and running through their blocks. And especially with stretch, just teaching our guys to explode through the block and then sprinting for 5 yards. And this is more of the, obviously the contact part. We do a lot of contact part on the sled. We do a lot of contact part with our look team guys, with a medicine ball or hand shield, but just running through that block and sprinting through. And I found that, when you teach them that technique, it really helps them fly off the football. Good. Now we're talking about the finish part. And so in this part right here, you've already made your first 3 to 4 steps or 2 to 3 steps. You've already made your contact on the defender. Now we're working on finishing. This is a fit finish drill that you can do with zone, you can do with stretch, you can do with ISO, you can do with whatever play that you want to do from a run game standpoint. And, one thing that we coach, especially with these guys starting from the ground up, is I want to be able to have flexible ankles here obviously with your toes pointing forward, but we want to have these knees slightly bent inside. That's going to give them a little bit more power producing angle. It also prevents them from, getting rolled up on, being injured. That's another big thing that we talk about. But we also talk about the Z in the knee. You can see kind of what I'm talking about with the Z in the knee. That's a power producing angle with your body, your lower body all lined, ready to go, an explosive position. So you can drive block this guy and get vertical distortion here. We talk about your butt in a good spot in an up position here. And a lot of times I talk to my guys about, a banana back look where your butt's slightly elevated, your back is slightly down a little bit, and then your head is up. And so you can have that, again, another good, powerful producing angle. We don't make contact with our face first. I was taught, get your face in the block, and I'm trying to get away from that a little bit. Now your face will eventually make contact at some point, but we want to strike with our arms, with our hands, with our palms, and be physical with that. And of course, you don't get a backside view here, but if you can see the backside, you want to be able to have these elbows as tight as you can to your body, as tight as you can. And then your thumb, this is a really good picture of a thumb up here, in a good position. His eyes are straight forward. And then, what you do from there, is you teach them, okay, right foot lead or left foot lead. So in this case here, it's a left foot lead. This lineman here doesn't quite get the vertical, step that we want. And our goal is 6 inches to start. All right, but he does a good job of getting that first step forward. He does pop up a little bit here. I like to see him stay down a little bit more, but you can see him drive blocking, working his feet, keeping a good base, and drive blocking that defender, and then again finishing. Get off him and finish and sprint for 5. Also, going back to the contact part here, the linebacker hat up drill that we talked about, all different ways you can do that. Here's one that we do here. Obviously I love medicine ball, as opposed to a hand shield in a lot of these cases, because the surface area for them to be able to block is much smaller. And it gives them a little bit better aiming point there. And it teaches them to, strike a little bit more, with precision on their strike. But here he is coming off a combo block. All right. We get these look guys to be able to step up here initially to start. All right. Your aiming point obviously is a medicine ball, good strike, good punch, good lift, and then drive your feet through the block. All right. What he didn't do here is he didn't finish. He didn't come off and run for 5 yards there. So I'm sure I jumped him pretty good there. But yeah, this is a pretty good job. And you can see from the back right there when he strikes, I talk to our guys a lot when we watch the end zone cam is, can I see your elbows? If I can see your elbows, you're probably in the wrong spot. All right. In this point right there, I can't really see his elbows because he's striking, and keeping his elbows tight to his body. So don't let me see those elbows from the behind shot. And then we mix in the drill where we ask our defensive guy to move. Not a lot of linebackers, when you square up on them, just come up and square up and hit you in the mouth. Some do, but a lot of them don't. So you're going to be able to move your feet as you get off the combo block and get to the second level. And if the linebacker, for an example, shoots inside to your right, no problem. You're just going to block him to your right, or vice versa. If he shoots to the left, take him where he wants to go, and our back will read that and take it from there. So there's some good movement there from our linebacker stepping up. I'd still like to see him move a little bit more from a look standpoint. That's a pretty good job by our lineman here of getting a good punch on that linebacker. And again, good base, good knee drive. Obviously, we'd like to see him play a little bit lower here, okay? But good job of striking and running your feet on contact, and a great job of finishing. You can see there that he finishes the block late there. Very good. And another example here, more movement going on. I really think it's important that we teach our guys, hey, these guys are never right. We're always right. They're always wrong. So if that linebacker wants to shoot here, no problem. Take him where he wants to go, and then our back will make a cut off of it. So there's no gray area. So it's always just reaction to their movement. And this is a pretty good job, pretty good striker here by our lineman. Okay, I'd like to see his head out the block a little bit more. I think he's leaning a little bit there. Okay, but I do like the fact that he's running his feet there. Good first couple steps, good punch, and run your feet. Very good. So those are some of the everyday drills that we do. Obviously, there's a ton of more drills that we do throughout the week. I just wanted to get a couple of them on here on film here so we can look at them. Now, talking about the actual schematics of the play and how we diagram it and how we teach it and what we're looking for. The front side 3, meaning the center, front side guard, front side tackle. We talk about blocking the triangle of the block of the structure. So here you are looking at an under scheme here with an A-gap defender. We're going to block, the first 3 defenders inside the triangle or inside the box. So the nose guard, the end, and the Mike here in this case would be the 3 guys. Our 4th blocker a lot of times, or sometimes our fifth blocker, depending on scheme and formation, he's going to block the alley, the fourth guy. So our tight end in this case here, unless we get movement, his aiming point is going to be the alley here, which will be the Sam or the Rover or whatever you want to call him. But you can see that our center, obviously in this situation, made an island call. So our guard and center, our tackle are going to execute our double combo through the end up to the mic, trying to work vertical distortion here. On the backside right here, the drawing should be a little bit tighter here from the left guard, but this would be more of a B scoop, and being cognizant of that backside will linebacker with his movement. So working that backside B block, and then like I said, our H back here is working this Sam. Here's a look from an over front. So we don't get a double call. We do get a slip call here from the center and play side guard. And our tackle knows when he hears a single or a slip call that he's on his own. So if that end does slant hard inside, you got to be conscious of that and be able to work up through that. Because if we get a double slant, so if that over front here is trying to get to an under post snap, right, our guard be able to see that and pick it up, and our tackle picks it up. But this is the triangle that we look at: tackle, guard, or tackle, end, and will in this case, and our slot right here would be the guy blocking the perimeter. The same thing right here with a bear front, a little bit different with the nose. I mean, there's multiple different ways that we block a bear front. Love stretch against bear, just because if you can get to the edge, you're in a pretty good spot. This is at a 20 personnel with our front side back. And we're teaching that front side back. Let's say that Rover's a little extended here. He's outside this area. He's not as tight to the line of scrimmage. He's a little bit further out. Let's say we have a twins look out here. We'll teach that back to kind of read the tackle's block too, where if that end ends up beating us a little bit, that back can help us through, as he climbs up to the next level. Or if that Mike ends up getting over the top, we're not chasing the Rover, that inside slot guy would block the number 4, and now our back would help climb and block the linebacker as well. So a couple different schematic things that we do as well. But being able to understand what I'm talking about, the triangle, and this has really helped our linemen up front be able to visualize pre-snap. Okay, these are the guys that we're working towards. This is something that we should be able to handle and feel comfortable about. And then looking at a 3-down look, an Okie front, or a 3-4, depending on what you want to call it. The triangle starts. We talk about the covered, whoever's covering the center. So if it's a 0. Out would be the 1, so 0 here. The nose guard would be the 1. The 4-eye here would be the 2, and obviously the mic in the backs would be 3, and then the 4 would be your Rover or your outside linebacker, depending on where his alignment is. And so our guys can make their calls here. So this would be an A combo between the center and backside guard here, working through the will possibly. And our backside tackling, front side guard and tackle, or double comboing up to the mic. We have this drawing here has a scheme where we're actually locking the backside, so it might be an RPO type thing where we're, possibly reading the L, or reading the will and doing some sort of throw behind it, or a quarterback keep or something like that. But being able to block the backside is another thing that can help you, with our backs and things of that nature. So talked a lot about the triangle, probably talked a little bit too much about it, but those are some of the things that we talk about with them with that. Looking at some film here, I want to start off with, with a stretch play to the right. Talking about with an inline tight end, we got an over front here. So our tackle and our guard and center are making a slip call, and our triangle block would be 3 technique, a 7, and then the mic in this case here. And then we would have our lead blocker or slot blocking the number 4 guy, which would be this one here. Okay. And so now we get a triple combo between these 2 guys. Okay. And they're working to lock the box. And our tight end here and tackle do a great job of getting vertical displacement here. All right. And our guard and center do a great job of reaching that 3 technique and be able to get that ball outside. So, first couple steps here, being able to see where we fit up on it right there, 1, 2, 3. And in this case right here, you can see our tackle and tight end did a nice job of sealing that end. And our tackle's in a good spot now to get it reached. And so now our lead back is able to kick out, that number 4 defender, the alley guy. And now our back, our jet sweep guy is able to, find that and basically blast it just inside of that guy here. And we got just enough on the backside here from our guard to get outside of him. And our back does a nice job of cutting up inside and getting a very big, large run there. We can look at it from a different angle here, not as great camera angle here, but same play. Our guard doesn't do a great job of getting that free reached, all right, but he gets just enough. He gets just enough, and our back's athletic enough to get outside of it there to make a play. And you can come back here. Hopefully the film's not too choppy here, Jeff, but you can see our tight end and tackle. I like to see our tight end get a little bit more physical on that chip block as he works up to the linebacker. But you can see here he closes that linebacker and locks the box and does a nice job there. Coming back to this play here, we're running stretch to the left here. You got a nice little, play here, getting stretch weak here. Felt really good about, how we lined up to a, to a inline tight end pro set in the boundary. Being able to get that overhang guy over the slot. So there isn't really an alley defender out here where our receiver needs to block. But we have a nice 6 technique here. Our tight end does a good job initially here. All right. But the one thing he doesn't do, does do, but we don't want him to do is he turns his pads sideways there. And he's not able to keep that, outside arm free, where we'd like for him to be able to climb and get to this linebacker and seal him off. Okay, which ends up being a problem for us here, where our back, doesn't feel as clean. But our left tackle in this case here does a great job of getting it reached, and that's a good job. So now our back right now is screaming, bounce, 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 get this thing outside. Our wideout does a good job of reading the coverage here and is able to push crack on the safety. And now we got a one-on-one with the corner. That's what we want. That's what we're trying to do. Trying to get a one-on-one. We got to go win. Gain of about 4 or 5 yards, probably could have been more, should have been more, could have been more. But look at the end zone version here. Our guard and center here are going to make their slip call together. So these 2 guys are working in combo through the 3 technique up to this linebacker pre-snap. But if that linebacker runs over the top, they don't chase. Their eyes go back to the backside here. So our guard does an outstanding job of reaching it, right? Our center does a great job. Not many centers can reach a 3 technique like that, right? For the most part, does a really good job of sealing that off, and we're able to get that one-on-one there. Where, hopefully, if our tight end would seal this linebacker here, now our back can stick his foot in the ground and get vertical and make this guy miss. So it goes back to vertical, distortion of the line, and not giving up, giving up ground. Let's watch the backside of this play here. Our backside guard and tackle, working through their respective gaps. This play right here, we are doing more of a lock scheme on the backside and trying to freeze that will linebacker here. So you could probably make an argument here that our back, might have been able to blast it in here, right? Now, obviously 40 would be a problem, but you have to break his tackle here. But you would like for him to be able to burst up through there, make a play. So a couple options there for the back. Here's a good look at a play for our guys. Getting vertical distortion at the point of attack here. We got an H-back that's actually off the line. We miss our block here in the perimeter, where if we're able to maintain that block here, he does a good job. But if we're able to maintain it a little bit longer, probably would have been a bigger play. But I want you to watch the tackle and tight end and get some really good vertical movement here on that end. And that's exactly what we're looking for. So our back can make a cut either outside or make this cut, as you'll see in the end zone, maybe blast it back inside. But that's where the vertical distortion play comes into play right there in the double team. Really good job on the backside. We'll watch the end zone cut, but our right guard is able to get through. Our tackle cuts off the 3 technique. And then our backside guard here is able to get to that backside linebacker and be in position. Doesn't finish really well here, but at least he forces that linebacker to come back underneath him, where at that point our back should be able to outrun him to make a big play here. But, potential to have a much bigger play. The point of emphasis on this clip right there, again, is your H-back and your tackle here, being able to get that end reached and getting good vertical movement. And then our guard able to get the linebacker reached, where our back, can stick his foot in the ground right there and possibly cut this thing and blast it underneath here. There's a lot of room to run right there. Excuse me. You can see our center does a really good job of reaching the 2-eye, and in this guy, in this case, he was a little bit of a smaller lineman, and we felt good about him being quick enough and fast enough to be able to make island calls by himself and reach those guys. And he did a nice job of that all year. And that's basically all we need you to do is go and reach that nose and get it hooked. Another look at it here. This is a play where we don't do a great job at tackle. We have an inline tight end here. We got a very nice look here, and we're running more stretch lead to the left. So our running back's going to block the alley defender here. So we're going to get a triple combo from our left tackle and tight end up to this linebacker. Okay. Now what ends up happening here is this end, reads stretch, and he does a good job of running and trying to keep contained outside. No problem. Our tight end will take him, and now our tackle's got to do a good job of reading that hip and then climbing, getting vertical, and not chasing. Well, 55 right here, I don't know what he's doing, but he's chasing, right? And we don't get up to this linebacker, which if we could and seal this guy off right there, now our back can stick his foot in the ground and get vertical. Now we still get a good gain here of about 4 to 5 yards, right? All right, but 55 sees that hip, and now we're able to climb and work up and then pick off this linebacker right there. We might have a pretty good chance of getting our back up inside, like I said before. Left guard, a little bit slower off the ball. I don't like the shuffle step. He doesn't really take a bucket step right there, but he does do a good job of staying square, and we got a good job of reaching that 3 technique, and that's kind of what we want. And now our guard here, instead of chasing, would like for his eyes to get back, for a fold-in player or possibly the safety fitting inside. So, good 4 or 5 yard gain right there. This play could have turned into a 40 to 50 or longer play up the field if we stuck our foot in the ground and we were able to get vertical at the point of attack. And then the backside right there, not a great job on the cut block here. This is not the technique. He gets the job done, but, this is one example where we felt like, we want to cut this big son of a gun down on the ground, and then get our guard who should be able to get his head across right there in the block. Well, if our back does decide, if we are to the running back, he might be able to make that bend play underneath here. We might have an angle to do that as well. So, and then one final play here, I believe, another example of stretch, and most of these were bounces, but really good job by our tight end, inline tight end. This is more of a 12 personnel look here. So if we have a 12 personnel look, our 4th guy will block the alley, which would be the alley defender here. We'd have a triple call between our tackle and tight end, and we're looking to lock the box. And then again, our center and guard are working through that 3 technique, and we got a one-on-one with the safety. We got to go win. And so we do a really good job of getting vertical distortion here at the point of attack. And right now, if you're a running back, you're thinking to yourself, man, I got a pretty good situation here. We got a nice little seal block there. Our H block tight end does a nice job of running that alley defender away. You could probably make an argument that our receiver could have pushed cracked here, and maybe block 2 for 1 with that corner. But we got a good job front side right there of getting good vertical displacement. And now our back's got to go win the block. Got to go win that play. Trying to get your athletes in space. Here it is from the end zone right here. So we should have a slip call and a triple call. And so our guard and center, again, we talked about defensive line movement. These guys did a nice job with our zone this afternoon, this game of trying to defend our zone play. So as we went in through the game, we said, okay, stretch might be a better play for us because we're getting a lot of interior twist. Well, now the 3 techniques is run himself right out of the play. And now our guard doesn't chase, just climbs right up to the next level and is able to fit up on the backside linebacker. So we're fit up across the board. And, this is where you want one-on-one with the 3rd level defender. You got to go win. Great job by our backside guard of not chasing here. He knows he's got a covered guy. The nose picks away. we always teach like everybody else probably always teaches. One guy goes away, another one's coming, sees the other guy coming right there, gets his head across, and is able to fit up on him. So good start to that play as well. So I just wanted to show a play from some interior movement. So Jeff, that's all I got for this afternoon in terms of some fundamentals.